See, in the last 2, 3 classes, we have been discussing leverage analysis with a very conceptual and diagrammatic perspective. And now that we have gone through that, let us move on to, and we also looked at an Excel sheet to understand that. And this was the Excel sheet before you, the one on your screen. Okay, and through that we understood various dimensions, and we try to link it this with the diagrams that we were drawing in the class. And now I am taking another example which is somewhat different. And in this example, there is an important dimension that I am trying to emphasize here. And that is, when you talk of leverage, as we have been talking about it so far, there are two different leverages that we talk about, operating and financial. And then we talk of the combined leverage, which is nothing but a multiple of the two. Now, this operating leverage as well as financial leverage, we can calculate in two different ways, is what I want to emphasize here. Let me first mention briefly the data. In the year one of some assumed firm, there is a data given of 1000 units with a sales price of 10 rupees and a variable cost of 7 rupees. So we get 10,000 sales, 7,000 variable cost, contribution 3,000. And then there is a fixed cost given, which is some odd figure, because I was just manipulating the Excel sheet to look at its impact. So there is some old figure which we are getting, but we can change it, right? As we change it, its effect we can see here. Like right now, we have changed it to 2000 as the fixed cost. So after the fixed cost, we are getting earnings before interest and tax. Now, if you look at the operating leverage, which we also describe as contribution over EBIT, right? So that's what we are getting, the value 3, right? And then we move on to the financial leverage part. So here again, since I was manipulating this data, uh, and I have written as 8% 2000 debt, which I can change. Let me see. I think which I can change. So if I change that, so you can see, I am still talking of the first year information. So in this first year information, there is an impact of change in debt only on the financial leverage, not on the operating leverage. If I change my capital structure and I have my debt capital not 3000, but let us say 5000, it would impact my financial leverage. My operating leverage remains, which has been defined by operational structure, by cost structure of the business. And my financial leverage is defined by my financial structure or capital structure of the business. So it is that which is changing when I'm changing the capital structure. And then, of course, combined leverage in any case is changing because it is a multiple of the two. So this is how we are taking financial leverage. Now, financial leverage is, if you look at EBIT over profit before tax. So this is like if you have 1 year information, so you calculate. But what about if you have 2 year information, right? That means, let us say next year, your sales increases by 30%. Okay. And that information I am showing in column G, right? That how much is the increase in sales, or for that matter, how much is the change in various parameters. how much is the change in various parameters. Okay. And when you look at this calculation again, so here I am saying percentage change in profit due to percentage change in sales. Okay, I am again calculating the operating leverage. I am again calculating the operating leverage at year one, right? I am calculating my operating leverage at year one. Am I making sense? But I am looking at the impact of this change in sales in the second year, and I'm calculating my operating leverage based on this information about change. Okay, let me to explain this. Let me show this change not 30% but 20%. Okay, now to show this change, uh, let me say this is 12,000. No, where is that information of the change? I think that information of the change, let me check. Yes, this I have written as H1. H1 is I'm taking D5 into 1 plus, okay, sorry, 1 is not visible. Yes. So that's my sales increase information. Okay. So if I change my sales increase information from 30% to 20%, my operating leverage doesn't change. And also my financial leverage doesn't change. In the first method, when I'm taking only year one information, in any case, that information is not changing. And in the second method, when I'm looking at the change, so if my sales changes to 20%, sales increases by 20%, my profit increases by 60%. So the relationship remains the same. That is, my operating leverage is 3. So there are two different ways that I calculate my operating leverage, and by both the methods, I should get the same information, is what I'm trying to emphasize. Like if you look at the book, you will find both these methods given. Operating leverage is by first method contribution over EBIT, by second method percentage change in profit due to percentage change in sales. Okay, so either way I calculate, I am getting it as 3. Now see, if I have my first year information different, let us say I have my first year information as, sorry, not as 800. First year information as 800 as volume. Now with 800 as volume, my operating leverage is very high. It has now become 6. If my first year volume, let me slightly reduce the, yes, I think now you can see the entire screen. So if I change it to 750, see, my operating leverage is very high. Now it has become 9. I still have some leverage, which is positive. And let's say I make it 740. My operating leverage has become 10. And I change it to, by both the methods, right? By both the methods, it is changing that. Whether I use first method or I use second method, I should get the same calculation. Don't look at other columns. Right now I'm saying you to look at year 1 column and year 2 column along with percentage change. And based on the percentage change, I'm calculating my operating leverage. I'm calculating my other leverages also, but right now my discussion is focused on operating leverage. So I'm showing that, although even in other cases, you can see by both the methods, when you are calculating combined leverage, like I'm calculating combined leverage by this first method, and just a second. We need to check. We'll come to this. I think maybe I might have included, but the calculation is right. Okay. So when you have year 1 information only, you calculate your leverage based on that information. And when you have year 2 information also, then you calculate based on the percentage change. Okay. Now, just a second. And let me reduce it to, because I still have scope of increasing my operating leverage. My operating leverage is now 730. These informations are not changing, right? This information is not changing because I have taken this as new sales as 20%, right? I have defined it here. If I defined it here, not 20%, but 40%, then also, whether my sales increases by 20% or my sales increases by 40%, my operating leverage doesn't change. Because my operating leverage is defined by the fact as to where my cost structure is today. That means in year 1. So it is the year 1 cost structure which defines the operating leverage as to what happens to year 2, right? As to how much additional profit I get vis-a-vis additional sales. Am I making sense? Okay, since now a lot of my information has gone in negative, let me bring it back to a figure of 1000. That's where we were, that's where we were when we were discussing this, right? So how much sales increases in with reference to previous sales doesn't define operating leverage. But operating leverage, what defines operating leverage is how much profit increases vis-a-vis increase in sales is what defines operating leverage. So it is the same information which we have built in one way or the other. Okay, now to understand this point, now let us look at the third year information. See, right? Now, let's say we are now standing at information with reference to year 2. So with reference to year 2, you again calculate operating leverage and financial leverage, right? So given year 2 information, given cost structure at year 2, you define, given cost structure as well as financial structure, you define operating leverage and financial leverage. And given a change, right? So that change I have defined this new sales. Yes, new sales I have defined here. Supposing I change my new sales to 50%. So maybe my sales has increased by 50%, but my operating leverage remains 1.9. It doesn't change. Whether my sales increases by 50% or even 100%, operating leverage doesn't change. It remains 1.9. Or I look at my operating leverage with reference to only year 2 information, and that's how I am defining contribution over EBIT. So whether I define it as contribution over EBIT or I define it as percentage change in profit due to percentage change in sales. Am I making sense? Am I getting across? So same thing then we start looking at with reference to financial leverage. So we say financial leverage is EBIT over profit before tax, given a particular year information. Or I calculate the other way and then I say percentage change in earning per share due to percentage change in earnings before percentage in due to percentage change in EBIT, right? So that's how I'm defining in two different ways what is my operating leverage and what is my financial leverage, and it is an important point to understand. So if I change my second point of time to 20%, now my operating leverage in year 2 is different, but it is not affected by what happens to change over year 2. My operating leverage and financial leverage is defined at the point of time year 1, and it doesn't affect how much change takes place in year 2, because that's a relationship defined by the cost structure and financial structure of year 1, and so of year 2 when you're talking year 2 vis-a-vis year 3. Okay, so we are writing operating leverage as contribution EBIT. Okay, and then I am writing my combined leverage. So my combined leverage is operating leverage into financial leverage. See, we always say like this. Although we can say percentage change in EPS due to percentage change in sales, we can say that also, right? If you look at your Excel sheet, right, you may find that yes, it can be said like that. Like here, I have calculated my this into this, which is from the two leverages, and I have also calculated using this is contribution over profit. This could be just a second. Note is wrong. D7 coming to be like I could have shown it, this is how I have calculated directly. But then this direct calculation is, we generally say, is inappropriate. Why do we say it is inappropriate? Like as if we are saying that you are not including this. No, sorry, not this one. This is there. You are not including this, and you are also not including this. And so you are writing directly as percentage change in earning per share pre-tax. Okay, this is pre-tax. Why don't we look at this relationship directly between sales and EPS? Why do we look at it separately? And why do we combine it later? Why we first calculate operating leverage, or either one you calculate first? We calculate operating leverage separately and financial leverage separately, and then we calculate combined leverage. What is the justification of doing that? Why don't we calculate combined leverage directly? Is my question. Yes, anybody who can answer? Are you writing in the chat box? You can unmute your mic and tell. तो सबसे important बात यह है कि these are two different structures in the business organization, capital structure and operational cost structure, or we say cost structure of the business. तो आप इनको सेपरेटली ही मॉडिफाई कर सकते हैं. मान लीजिए आपको अपनी ऑपरेटिंग लीवरेज बढ़ानी है, तो ऑपरेटिंग लीवरेज बढ़ाने के लिए आपको बिजनेस में जो टेक्नोलॉजी है, फैक्ट्री है, रोबोटिक्स हैं, कोई और सोफिस्टिकेटेड टेक्नोलॉजी है जिसमें कि आप फिक्स्ड इन्वेस्टमेंट करते हैं और फिर उसको मार्केट के साथ देख करके आपको उसमें चेंज करना पड़ेगा. और ऐसे ही फाइनेंशियल स्ट्रक्चर या कैपिटल स्ट्रक्चर है जिसको कि आपको सेपरेटली चेंज करना पड़ेगा. तो ये दोनों जो हैं इनको हैंडल करने के लिए भी बिजनेस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में जो ह्यूमन रिसोर्स है, जो पर्सनेल हैं, वो डिफरेंट फंक्शंस में हैं. तो वो डिफरेंट फंक्शंस में होने की वजह से उनके जो डिसीजन मेकिंग प्रोसेसेस हैं वो भी अलग है, जिससे कि आप ऑपरेटिंग लीवरेज पर इम्पैक्ट डाल सकते हैं या फाइनेंशियल लीवरेज पर इम्पैक्ट डाल सकते हैं. उसका फाइनल इम्पैक्ट हमें नजर आता है, लेकिन इन दोनों को जो है किसी एक मेथड से आप दोनों को चेंज नहीं कर सकते, राइट. फाइनेंशियल स्ट्रक्चर को चेंज करने का सारा जो है वो फाइनेंशियल एक्सपर्ट्स इन्वॉल्व है उसमें. कॉस्ट स्ट्रक्चर को चेंज करने के लिए अब जैसे कि अब इतनी बात हो रही है कि इलेक्ट्रॉनिक व्हीकल्स के बारे में सब ऑटोमोबाइल कंपनीज भी और जो दूसरे सेक्टर में कंपनीज हैं वो भी इसके अंदर आने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. तो जब आप इलेक्ट्रॉनिक व्हीकल्स का प्रोडक्शन करेंगे तो इलेक्ट्रॉनिक व्हीकल्स के प्रोडक्शन का जो चेंज होगा वो ऑपरेशनल सिस्टम पर पड़ेगा, बिजनेस के ऑपरेशंस पर पड़ेगा, और यानी कि ऑपरेटिंग लीवरेज पर पड़ेगा. आपको उसकी ऑपरेटिंग लीवरेज देखनी पड़ेगी इस न्यू कॉस्ट स्ट्रक्चर की. जबकि फाइनेंशियल लीवरेज का असर जब आप ये कहेंगे कि देखिए अब हमारा जो प्रॉफिट है वो एक ऐसी रेंज में है कि यदि हम अपनी इक्विटी ना लगा करके लोन ले लें, डेट कैपिटल ले लें, तो उसकी वजह से जो इक्विटी है उसके ऊपर बेनिफिट होगा. तो उस तरीके से आप दोनों को सोचने का, उसके ऊपर थिंकिंग अप्लाई करने का जो प्रोसेसेस हैं वो अलग है. That is why these are to be understood independently and we can see the impact jointly. Okay, I think this was one important lesson which was required to conclude this topic, and then maybe in the next class we start now talking about capital structure theories. Okay, as I mentioned in some of the previous classes that we will be discussing alternate theories which explain capital structure. While we are explaining capital structure, this is an important decision in the financial management, is one of the important finance decisions which we call as financing decision, right? So financing decision is concerned with the decision related to capital structure, and in that we are trying to take the decision in a manner, we are trying to have a kind of a capital structure which increases the value of the firm, right? So if it increases the value of the firm, it increases the value of the equity. So if it increases the value of equity, it increases the value of those who are taking decisions, that is those who have their stakes, controlling stakes in business, primarily promoters or promoters managers. There could be both the kinds of categories. Maybe the company is entirely fully widely distributed in terms of its equity shareholders, but then there are some managers who have maybe more equity than others, and therefore they are into managing, they are into managing roles, and therefore they are trying to take decisions in a manner so that the value of the firm increases. So you are, that's your perspective when you're discussing capital structure theories. So you're looking at, theoretical framework to understand how capital structure may affect the value of the firm, right? So we will take it up in the next classes. So if you have nothing more to say, nothing to ask, then I'll stop here for today.